Hello, my friends. Welcome to Bonnie's Fluid Creations. I'm Bonnie, and I'm going to be pouring over this canvas today, and I'm going to be doing another shovel pour. I call them a shovel pour because what I'm using is more like a shovel than it is a dustpan. So, yeah, I poured this last week, and I'm hoping pouring over it now. I think it's dry enough. It's fine. Will work out okay, but I just didn't like this at all. So I'm going to be pouring over it. And I'm going to be using a base of kind of a mixture of colors. Don't know if you can see that or not, but this is a combination of Lucas Krill and Soho Urban Artist Payne's Gray. And then I added a pretty good blob mixture of Lucas Krill Indigo into the mix. I've been stirring it all up pretty good, and I think I've got it to a fairly good consistency. It's a little mound and then disappears. You could always hold it up really high and let it sink into itself, but you don't want to do that. You want to do it just maybe an inch off of the paint to see what your consistency is for the type of technique you're going to use. And what I'm going to be doing is a dustpan pour or shovel pour with the ring pour inside the shovel. So I'm going to go ahead and get my base laid and put a little bit of it in the shovel before I do my ring pour and layer my cup. I'm going to be using a lot of, actually I'm hoping it'll work out okay because the colors that I'm going to be using are mostly eye candy pigments. And so we'll see how this works out. I've got Firebird Red, I've got Indian Red, I've got Blaze Orange, this should be fun. I also have, let's see, Eye Candy Macaw Blue, blue-green that is. And then the rest of these, here's an Amsterdam Deep Gold. This is a mix of Amsterdam and Lucas, gold and bronze. Arteza Bordeaux Red, and then we have some Pebeo Prussian Blue. So I don't know if I'll end up using all of these. Good chance that I might. It's a small canvas, so I have to be cautious how much paint I'm putting on in the shovel. So anyway, oh yeah, and in between I'll be putting this Artist Loft White, and it also has, excuse me, a little blob of satin enamel in there, so we'll see if I get a reaction with that. So let me go ahead and lay the base, get all set up, and we'll be back. Okay, we are back. I have my base coat down. I've made sure my sides are good. Now I have already layered my cup and poured a little bit of the base coat in my shovel. So now with my paints layered in my cup, I'm going to just do a ring pour right into my shovel. I tried not to overdo the paints, but I always do. And it looks to me like the gold is going to overtake this again. It just looks like it. Okay. So there's my shovel, making sure that nothing gets out before I'm ready. Right-handed, so I gotta spin it around. Okay, ready, set, go. Here goes nothing. Let's make sure we've got an even start to this. Looks pretty. There towards the end, it almost looks like a ribbon pour, you know what? I'm gonna put some music on, but I always get dinged. And I get that copyright-free music, and it still dings me. I don't know why. So that looks pretty good. My shovel. And I call it a shovel because it's not a dustpan. It is a shovel that is used to clean out our wood stove. the ashes from the wood stove. I've got a couple of those, so I cleaned that one up to use. Okay. Wow, this looks kind of cool. I will pop some bubbles in case, because I am seeing some. I just mixed up that base paint a while ago too. So, like I said, it's a combination of Lucas and Soho Urban Artist, can't talk, Payne's Gray, and then I put that Lucas Indigo in. I love that color. Gives it a little bit more of a bluish color there. But we are already getting some cells, some pearls or cells or whatever you want to call it. My goodness. Okay. Well, let's see what we can get out of this. I want to leave some negative space. And I know this is a lot of paint on here to be doing that, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to probably have to bring a lot of it this way. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to keep it in frame. Yeah, I think I might have put a bit too much base coat on there. Maybe I'll let it go down farther and then bring it back again. We'll see what happens. I can see it pushing that base coat. Move it back. Kind of try to center what paint I've got on the canvas again. And then I can see it moving off the other side. Bring it back just a little bit again. Doing this, moving it across each other, the paint across each other, I may get some viscosity cells because the white paint that I've layered, which you can't really see in there right now, has a little bit of sand and enamel in it. So, yeah. I did not take it side to side. I pretty much went, you know, up and down, you might say, not back and forth, up and down. I'm definitely getting the ring pour definition in there. The pour that I had done previously, similar to this, I could not get, they blended together. I should show you that one. They just kind of blended. I started out liking it a lot, and then the colors just started blending together because they weren't thick enough. The consistency was not right for a ring pour. And that's what I've not done many of, are ring pours. So, therefore, I didn't have my consistency proper for a ring pour. So let's let this sit just a moment. Let me grab that painting real quick and I'll show you what I was talking about in one of the last pours that I did. It's right here. Okay, this was, it's dry now. And what I did like, and I used a dioxazine violet for my base coat. I'm trying to remember, it's Holbein dioxazine violet. And it created some beautiful like lacing cells as it ran down, but the colors were not the proper consistency for a ring pour. Therefore, you can see where they just kind of blended together. At first, they looked amazing. But then as they started to dry and move, look what happened. You can't tell it's really a ring pour anymore. Like this, where you can see the definition of the lines from the ring. So once the other one is dried pretty well, I'll probably pour over that one too. That was a 14 by 18 inch canvas, I believe. And this is just a smaller one. This is just an 11 by 14. So let's let this sit a little bit. I might torch it again. I'll make sure my sides are done well, and then we'll come back and see what we got. All right, so I have checked my sides, my corners, make sure everything was good to go. So I'm examining this a little bit, and the distinction in my colors are much better over here at the beginning of my shovel pour than it is at the end. And it's very obvious. You can see where I pulled it off. I think if I'd have went a little bit slower over at this end before I let it drag off, it would probably have shown a bit more distinction. Of course, the colors. The colors are going to do that too. And I don't have as much of the blue over here as I did originally. So that's all on how you layer your cup. What goes in first is going to come out last. So, and also, I don't know if you can see this. What I like to do is, I don't know if you can see that. I think here's the cup I had it layered in. If I have paint left over, I like to put it back in my cup. I have this little bitty spatula. I like to take it and put it back into the cup. You can't see what I'm doing, but I'm, just like if I was working in a kitchen, I'm just scraping the bowl. I'm scraping the shovel, the paint back into my cup. And then when I move the painting, any drippings, because I have parchment paper down, I'll also pull that up and put it in the cup. And then I'll use those drippings as a paint color later. I'll save those, which is probably how I ended up with a combination of the Payne's Gray with the Soho and the Lucas. But I think it's turned out to be a very pretty color, and I have quite a bit left over, so I'll use it on another painting. But it turned out to be a very pretty Payne's Gray, adding that indigo in there. I like it a lot. So when it dries, of course, naturally it's going to dry darker, and hopefully I'll see a little bit more reaction in these paints. Like I think I mentioned, these are eye candy pigments. So the majority, there's a couple of them that are not, that I've added in through there along with that gold. So, and I am just surprised because a lot of times when I'll use those gold, they'll just kind of take over. And in this instance, I'm basically seeing it kind of along the edge, which is a cool little reaction I'm getting. So we're going to let this sit for a while. Don't know if I'll have to torch it again because I don't think I have any more bubbles in it. But there's a lot of paint on this little canvas. It's going to take a long time for this to dry. And this is a pour over. So we're hoping, fingers crossed, that this will dry okay and not crack or bubble. Sometimes you get those little bubbles through. It's had plenty of time to dry from the first original pour on that canvas, but we'll see what happens. I don't always have good success pouring over old canvases. So we'll come back later and see what we got. All right, so here is the not dry version. We'll do a little flyover here. I have to be honest with you, from what I'm seeing, I am not exactly happy with the color choices I made. I'm just seeing too much of a peachy color through there. And I thought I did enough variation of the red with the Bordeaux red, and then of course the the eye candy pigment colors that I chose, which were more of a fluorescent color. I think I needed more blues, or maybe even some of that pistachio, that Artesa's pistachio green in there. That would have been pretty. But either way, I apologize for the glare, but let me get down closer here so we can see what we have. And the reaction that came out of it. Now see, I do have some, like a teal color that showed up there, but it didn't stay throughout because I think the Bordeaux red and the other colors that were more of a red blended in with my white that I layered, and this is the result. So like I said, I'm not crazy about the color choice, but composition wise, I'm rather happy with the composition. And this is the direction, of course, it would be hanging. So we will take a look at it once it dries, which will probably be in my next video. I think what I'll do is I'll turn off the studio light so we can see if it's got any shimmer. All right, let's just come in for the shimmer. Look at that. That's that beautiful gold. It's the 24 karat mixed with the, I think there's a combination of Blick and Lucas golds in there, or maybe it's a golden. I do see it carried through the rest of the composition there a little bit. And once it's varnished, it'll really pop out more. Yeah, it's got some, oh yeah, you can see it shimmering anytime this camera decides it wants to focus. And this really brings out, you can tell the Bordeaux red through there. Okay, so there you have it. And I will hopefully be able to attach the dried version of this at the end of the video. If not, I will show the results once it's dry. This is a lot of paint on here. It's going to take a while, and it's a little cool down here in my studio. So it might not be until the next video. Thank you so much for joining me, and y'all take care.